what a way to start as Paul is introduced at Busch Stadium. Congratulations on everything, man, and welcome to St. Louis. What has the last week, the last month or so been like? We heard Mike Hazen say that he and Tori had a conversation with you that wasn't necessarily easy. I can't even imagine what you've been going through, man. How would you describe it?
So, I mean, the last month hasn't really been that big a deal, but, then when I found out I was traded, a couple of days ago, it snowballed pretty quickly, and, there's a lot of different emotions, some sadness to leave Arizona, but, equally as excited to be here, and just more the logistics of getting here for the press conference and just everyone text messaging me and calling me and trying to, return all those and take care of family and all that type of stuff. But, it just comes with the territory, and excited to be here, and everything's good.
How often during the course of a season do you have to put the phone down and not look at it after a monster night? Or rumors, obviously, a different situation, but I imagine there are times when you and your family just have to get away because everyone means well, but when everyone reaches out at the same time, it's got to be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, well, I'm not on social media of any kind, so I don't have to deal with all that. So I think that puts me in a different category than most guys. I have a pretty small circle of friends and family, so if somebody's texting me, it's probably important, or at least I know who they are. But I definitely try to put my phone away at home a lot, and just put it on airplane mode, put it, in the dresser, and spend time with my kids and not have any distractions, and my wife. So I make it a big point to not be on my phone that much relative to the society we live in now. But sometimes I do better than that than I do of other times.
Paul Goldschmidt is with us, and it's great to have you in St. Louis. And over your left shoulder in our studio here is a big frame photo of Stan Musial. What do you know about Stan the man and about Cardinals history?
I need to learn more, I'll tell you that. I'm sorry. I mean, obviously you know the name, you know how great he was, one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, and the legacy that he lives here, and you can't walk into this stadium and not see his name everywhere and not think about him, as well as many other great players here. So I'm honored to be part of the Cardinal family and Cardinal tradition, and hopefully carry that on, and that's my goal.
Your approach to playing the game, a lot of people talk about your preparation. Paul Goldschmidt is prepared. How do you go about being prepared in this game and leading to success?
I think that's just where my focus is. I think if you're prepared, you give yourself the best chance to have success. It doesn't mean you're going to have it, but if you fail, if you have a 0-for-4 night, or you make an error or something happens, if you were prepared, you can go home and you can rest, a little easier. If you're not prepared and you fail, then you may go home and you may have regrets, and I don't want to look back on my career or any day with regrets. So I think just you want to have success, and if you kind of reverse engineer that back to what's the very basic thing you need to do, you need to be prepared, you need to work hard, and so I just kind of put my focus on those things, the things I can control, and then just let the results hopefully take care of themselves.
Paul, we've heard the comparisons that Tony La Russa has made. I spoke to Daniel Descalso on the phone a couple of hours after the trade went through, and he said, in terms of guys he's played with, the closest comparison he also can make is Albert Pujols. And he went out of his way, Paul, to say, not just because of the kind of player you are on the field, but the kind of person you are and what you meant for the Phoenix community, what you've meant back home as well in the Houston area. When you hear those things and you hear guys speak to your character, what does that make you feel like? Because we can read back of the baseball card stats all day, but to truly make a difference like Albert has, like so many professional athletes have, like you have in the Phoenix area, that's got to make you proud.
Yeah, it's a great compliment. That's what you're striving to do. You want to treat people the right way. And I had so many great teammates and so many great mentors that kind of taught me, hey, this is how you go about your business, this is how you act, and guys that I look up to like Albert, like other guys. And so it's definitely a huge compliment from Descalso and from many others. But, I think you got to continue doing that. I got to earn everything, and you got to do it day by day. And it's great to have someone, speak highly of you, but, you got to keep doing that. I hope to continue playing well and helping this team and organization and city and state, and I'm just excited to be here.
I'll make you talk about yourself for a minute. Tell us about some of the things that were important to you and your family in the Phoenix area away from the ball field. I understand you're a bit of a bowler.
We had our bowling charity event that benefited Phoenix Children's Hospital, and it was a fun event we did the last couple of years. We probably won't do it this year now, but looking forward to learn more about the community here and what's going on and getting involved. We're given this amazing platform as a professional athlete and now probably even bigger as a Cardinal. And, so many kids look up to you especially. And I don't take that for granted. I was that kid that was watching professional baseball players especially and emulating them. And so I think you want to be that good role model, and you, like I said, have this platform where you can help out. A little bit of your time goes a long way compared to most people. And so, all the people who helped me out, I want to continue down that tradition and be here for the community here in St. Louis.
Paul Goldschmidt with us. I had a text from a friend who covers the Giants, and he said, I'm telling you, they're breathing a sigh of relief around here that he's out of here. Not all the time. You'll be back for a couple of times, but you also have wrecked some National League Central ballparks as well. And I heard you mention in the press conference you weren't really aware initially of all those numbers, that to you it's going out and attacking what you said are some fun ballparks in the Central.
Yeah, I mean, you can have success one spot or fail a lot, and then all of a sudden it changes. I mean, we never know why that happens. So if you get too caught up in where you're playing or too caught up in the past, then, that might mess with the present or the future. So, if I've had success, great. If I've failed, I guess that's fine too, and just try to take it day by day. And when we've all seen, usually when guys are in huge slumps or they're struggling, then they break out of it and go the complete opposite way. So that can happen with stadiums or pitchers too. And, just try not to live too much in the past and just excited to be here and go out there and compete, and we'll see what happens.
What about this ball club? What do you like about this current Cardinals team, which, who knows, may continue to change here in this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we played them last year, it was a little early, but just the young talent here. That's what I kept saying to the first base coach, and I was like, man, this team's going to be good for a really long time, especially the next 5 or 6 years. And it looked like the roster had kind of gone through a little change, gotten a little younger. I might be wrong on that, as I'm not like studying the roster, but it just, you kind of came in here and you knew the whole roster and you knew the names, and now, some of the guys I hadn't heard of, and I was just really impressed by them, facing some of these pitchers, just, really tough, and the young players, and just really talented. I mean, that's what the Cardinals do. They just keep producing from the minor leagues. So I'm happy to be part of that. But of course, the veteran guys are here too, like Yachty and Waino's back, and Carpenter's been here, and I'm sure there's some other guys I'm forgetting, and just probably a good mix, and looking forward to getting to know everyone and being part of that mix.
So you were in the stands when Pujols hit that home run off Brad Lidge?
Is that going to be the main story today? I feel like everyone's asking about it.
I mean, well, I grew up a big Cubs fan, so we all have come from different places.
I don't know how that got out, but yeah, I was there. I was a big Astros fan. I watched them every night on TV, and was fortunate enough that a friend had tickets. I think I was in high school at the time, and got to see Albert hit that homer off Lidge, and walked out of the stadium and I remember tearing up my ticket on the way out and throwing it on the ground. But
well, I still remember laying on my parents' bed when Steve Bartman got that ball off his hands. But my question being, who were some of the guys that you looked up to? Obviously, Astros are around Major League Baseball. Were you just a rabid baseball fan when you were a kid? It seems like more and more, and kids, I guess, younger than us, almost don't watch the game as much because they're playing all year long. But what kind of baseball fan were you growing up? Who did you look up to, and who were some of your favorites?
I loved baseball. I still do. I mean, I loved all sports. I got 2 younger brothers, and my dad's from Boston, so we had to like baseball and sports. And grew up in Houston, so of course we're watching the Astros games every night. Saw a ton of Cardinals games with them being in the same division. But we played everything: basketball, hockey, soccer, football, everything. But baseball was always my favorite. And growing up in Houston.
Played hockey in Houston.
Yeah, roller hockey. Okay. I don't know if we ever played ice hockey. And, Biggio and Bagwell, they're the 2 Hall of Famers just when I was a little younger. And then, probably as I got older, Berkman was kind of the guy there who then was here and won the championship here. So, and I was spoiled with some role models. There's some great players there. And as a kid, if you're trying to emulate those 3, I mean, that's just a great way to play baseball, and very thankful to, even though those guys don't know it, just to be able to watch them.
The Woodlands graduate, Paul Goldschmidt, with us. And so you chose baseball. What was it about the game? What is it about the game that you love so much?
I mean, I think looking at it now, it is such a metaphor for life. And I think that's the greatest thing about this game is you can do everything right and still fail. There's so much failure built into this game. There's the individual component, but there's the team component. It's not always fair. And so I think you just look at how life is, and it just lines up so perfectly for that. You look back on my childhood, probably the time, we didn't have the social media, we didn't have everything else. You're sitting there after dinner watching the games with your family. It's family time you're talking about. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Of course, you got to be physically in shape and be able to perform, but there's a lot mentally that's going on between the pitcher and the catcher and the hitter, and defensive positioning and the managers and the matchups. And It's just such a great game, and it just speaks to how life is with all the failure, the ups and downs. It's a humbling game. As soon as you think you got to figure it out, it humbles you in a hurry. The changes back and forth. I don't know. I remember going to my first Little League practice and getting in the car and just saying, "Mom, I love baseball," and that's one of my earliest memories. And haven't looked back. It's crazy they still let me play now, and I never thought this would be possible to get to the big leagues or have the career I've had or now be playing for the Cardinals. And just going to keep giving it everything I have and hopefully go out there and play well.
It's funny. I saw a picture of Tiger Woods in a tournament like 15 years ago, and everyone's actually watching him hit the golf ball.
I saw that.
And the same picture, everyone's holding their phones up. It's crazy, and in some respect, it's great because there's a lot of revenue coming in around media rights and other things surrounding sports. But to be able to go out and play, it seems like something that you really relish. Without getting too on the edge of hyperbole, people just say that you're a baseball player. You just care about playing the game. Is that a compliment? Is that corny? Does that make you feel anything, Paul?
I'll take that. I mean, that's what we get paid to do. You want to go out there and play, and you want to perform and help your team. I mean, that's what I love to do. And there's other stuff that comes with being a professional athlete and baseball player, and that's fine too. But the biggest joy is when the lights come on and that game starts, and you're out there competing with your teammates against another team, and that competition is fun. There's a lot of different ways to get it, so it's awesome that's my job, is to go out there and compete, on a daily basis and with a great group of guys.
Are there going to be some Cardinal jerseys under the Christmas tree, do you think, or holiday gifts being handed out at the Goldschmidt residence?
Of course. I got to get it for my kids. We got to get all the hats and the jerseys and everyone, and we're excited and excited to get here to St. Louis when the season starts and be part of the community and hopefully help bring a championship back here.
Paul, can't thank you enough, man. Welcome to St. Louis. It's great to have you a part of the organization and, more importantly, a part of the community, and hearing what you and your family have worked so hard to do in terms of making a difference. And we'll talk to you real soon down in Jupiter.
Yeah, thanks for having me.